when
Could we stand, please? The psalmist declares in Psalm 107 and verse 8, "Oh, give thanks unto the Lord for his goodness and his wonderful works." We bow our heads at this time as we give thanks. Heavenly Father, we thank you as you are the fountain of all good gifts, and we come before you seeking your abundant blessings on this new venture. Thank you for allowing us to gather here this afternoon to officially open the FCCU branch in downtown Bastia. I pray that you will bless our credit union and help it to flourish and create great livelihood and growth for all that it serves. I have faith that you'll grant guidance needed to ensure that everyone associated with the FCCU will do their best to ensure that this branch is successful. We seek your protection over these premises and ask for your blessing on every employee and every customer that enters this door. We ask that you hear our prayer as we put the rest of these proceedings before you. We ask that you impart your supreme wisdom and guidance upon this opening ceremony through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Morris. Ms. Denise Garfield, General Manager, Caribbean Confederation of Credit Unions. Mr. Peter Jenkins, President, St. Kitts and Nevis National Cooperative League Limited. Mr. Howard McEachran, President of First Federal Credit Union, and the directors, Mr. Don Williams, Vice President, Mr. Glenn Quinlan, Mr. Michael Martin, Mr. Sean Lawrence, Mr. Jameer Claxton, Mr. Trevor Cornelius. Directors of other boards of credit unions. Mrs. Jessica Ferdinand Phipps, Chairperson of FFCU's Supervisory and Compliance Committee, members of the Supervisory and Compliance Committee and the Credit Committee, Mr. Terence Crossman, Chief Executive Officer of First Federal Credit Union, and other Chief Executive Officers, management teams, other guests, in person and online, our staff. I am thrilled to welcome you to this celebration to mark another milestone in the life of First Federal Cooperative Credit Union. Our rebranding in 2019 propelled us on a path of unprecedented success, and this full-service branch with an on-site cafe demonstrates our growth, innovative business strategy, and our unswerving commitment to creating an unparalleled experience for our members. In spite of the pandemic, we look towards the future with confidence and optimism. We are truly honored by your presence. Welcome to the opening of First Federal Credit Union's Personal Banking Center. Mr. Howard McEachran, our president, is serving his second three-year term as president of our board of directors. He has enthusiastically and consistently supported the management team and was excited about this project the very moment the concept was shared with him. I am pleased to invite our president, Mr. Howard McEachran, to address us.
Thank you, one and all. In fact, I don't have much to add. She said everything I was going to say, but some of it bears repetition. It is indeed a fantastic milestone. I add the words of welcome to all of you taking the time and trouble to be here, especially our colleague credit union representatives, and wish to take the opportunity to congratulate Nevis Cooperative Credit Union on their 50th anniversary. Quite a milestone, a lot of success, and they have exemplified the role that the credit unions are playing in the financial space in helping to build a strong economy, and a better standard of life for everyone. I also join in recognizing, of course, and welcoming Denise Garfield, who's our boss, the chief CEO of the Caribbean Conference of Credit Unions, which is headquartered here at Fort Lands. You see that big building there with all the flags? That's it, right here. And that's representing all the Caribbean credit union leagues and, by extension, unions from Guyana right up to Jamaica, not including Cuba yet. And, of course, Peter Jenkins, a recent past president, now president of the league, who really started a big impetus to push this credit union forward. We were just having a chat, remembering the efforts about 6, 7 years, maybe more years ago, to try to get established downtown. Eventually we were next door upstairs. This one, we're really excited about this one. This is location, location, location. All the marketing people and sales people tell you how important location is. Well, see where we are now. We're on the ground floor. So we expect a lot, and we hope you like what we have done with the premises. We have joined with our partners at Sweet and Savory, who are next door. So you will have First Cafe right within this room. So it make it easy to do business. It's customer-centric. So we want to create an ambience and atmosphere in here that is pleasing to the members. We would like to record, of course, our sincere gratitude to the growing number of members, over 5,000 plus now, and for their continuous encouragement and support. This is, as the credit union system works, this enterprise belongs to the members. You cannot be a customer unless you're a member. So you are part owner of the operation, which means you have a vested interest in the success of the operation. And the operation has been growing very successfully from very modest beginnings as the FND upstairs of Eskimo Foods, for those who've been around long enough. Eskimo Foods was on Horsford's at the corner of Independence Square there, which is now being redeveloped, and then moved over to Keon Street, and from Keon Street up to Bladen's, where the headquarters is. Then we also had a branch in Nevis, going back then. It was first at the Bayside in Charlestown, right next to TDC. And then we are now housed in the complex of the Nevis Credit Cooperative, our good friends, in Charlestown. Very accessible. And that's why we use the name Federal. We are federal. Sounds good, eh? United States is federal, we too. So the combined results of St. Kitts and Nevis and all the operations has finally created a very nice milestone for us, very challenging. We recently, within this week, reached that century. You know, if you're a cricketer and you're batting, in your 90s, you're a little nervous and so on, you get to 100. We have just got to $100 million. So it's quite a milestone. I'd like to congratulate the CEO, Terence Crossman, and his very energetic, creative staff for inspiring the confidence of members and the general public to place that. It always surprises me to see the volume of growth in the credit union movement, and we get our share. It's growing fast. Of course, that places a huge responsibility, the board and management, to manage those funds, because, you know, it's depositors' funds. A nice, tidy percentage of it, but small, belongs to the members in equity. But we basically, like commercial banks, borrow from Peter to lend to Paul. If Paul don't pay, Peter in trouble. Not this Peter here. But so that's the basic principle. But in the process, while simplifying it, we know how much goes into the operations of the principals. The commercial banks are different from us because they do foreign exchange. We don't. So we don't have to deal with correspondent banks. But we work closely with the commercial banks because for placing surplus funds and also for joint interests to help create a very strong financial sector. It is good to know, today I was speaking to the governor of the central bank. Everybody suffering from the pandemic. Nobody escapes. But the management generally in the financial sector have worked very well to protect the resources. We haven't had any flight of capital. We haven't had flight of deposits. We have concerns with quality of loans, and we're grateful for the authorities providing the scope to allow credit unions and commercial banks to have a moratorium for persons, especially persons who are unemployed and awaiting the return to normalcy, which many pundits are saying could be this year. I don't know how everybody feels, but there's a general sense that we're kind of easing back. By now, we have become used to these things. These, I guess, might be around for quite a while. But we know about vaccination, we know the situation there, and we know the urge to protect ourselves, a tiny little nation, and we've done extremely well by Caribbean and international standards. So people come here and are quite amazed when they come from places like Europe and North America and so on, to find that we're nearly normal. So, but we're very aware that the virus is still here, perhaps not as fatal or lethal as it was in the early stages. But we can't let our guard down. So the future is obviously somewhat dependent on that, on the extent to which we recover and how quickly. So we have had to tailor operations to suit, keeping a very close eye on the depositors' funds, on the liquidity of the enterprise, and of course the quality of the assets. And I have to express a lot of gratitude to those members who, in very difficult circumstances, have tried hard to maintain a good record, because they recognize after years and years of preaching, credit unions, commercial banks, everybody, but the value of being credit worthy. If you can withstand this pandemic time and come out of it unscathed, taken unscathed in the context of the challenges, it augurs well going forward for your borrowing resource, etc. And in the face of this, we have depositors walking in every day with small and large sums. Obviously, we feel more comfortable. We'd rather get 50 people depositing $20,000 than one guy walking in and take $1 million, because we're not too uncomfortable or threatened by a fellow with 20 or 30. But one guy with $1 million, he could come in next week and say, well, I need $1 million, yes? Give me enough. You have to run and call some money somewhere, or call a friend and help out. And we have good friendly resources within the financial sector, commercial banks, and especially the credit unions between themselves. So thank you very much for celebrating with us. It's a red letter day indeed. And of course, we will be sharing these facilities I mentioned with Sweet and Savory, and we hope that you will like what you see when you walk around, and savor the flavors, and get ready to come back. Those of you who can, or tell your friends, come back on Monday. Everything will be working, and the team is ready, willing, and totally able to serve you. Again, thank you very much, and we look forward to working along with you and friends way into the future. Thank you very much.
I need more space than I thought I did. And I haven't had anything from the cafe as yet. Thank you very much, Mr. President. You got a bit of the history of First Federal and the challenges that are faced not only by credit unions, but by financial institutions on the whole during this pandemic. Mr. Peter Jenkins is a former president of the First Federal Credit Unions Board, and he served as the project manager for the build-out of this beautiful building in which you are now seated. He is very familiar, and he understands our vision, and he has lots of experience in the credit union industry. I invite Mr. Jenkins now to make remarks.
Thank you, Lady Bradley King, for your introduction, which was very kind. That is one thing about Mr. Crosman. He selects his staff, his associates very well. And I think he would have learned that that's the first step in success, the persons whom you select. So that's a compliment, Mr. Crosman. So, Lady Bradley King, as chairperson for today's proceedings, Miss Denise Garfield, General Manager of the CCCU, Mr. Howard McCachran, our President of this credit union, members of the board, committee members as well, Mr. Crosman, the General Manager, management and staff of the credit union. I see Mr. Newton here, who is celebrating close to 40 years in the movement as General Manager of the Nevis Cooperative. Am I correct? Yes. Could we give him a hand? My good friend from our board, Mr. Cornelius and others. My friend Michael, my colleague Dawn and others. Media, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. I speak today as president of the National Cooperative League Limited. I almost said soon. I spoke to Mr. Crosman, but I will leave that. But what is the relevance of the league at today's function? In St. Kitts and Nevis, there are 4 credit unions. 1 in Nevis and 3 in St. Kitts. The umbrella body for these 4 credit unions is the League, as we refer to it, the St. Kitts Nevis National Cooperative League Limited. In the Caribbean, there is the Caribbean Confederation of Credit Unions, which is the umbrella body for all credit unions in the Caribbean, from Suriname in the south to Bermuda in the north. Approximately 16 credit unions are involved in that organization. And it is headquarters at Fort Lance, a vision of our government to ensure that to complement the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, we now have the Caribbean Confederation of Credit Unions, also located in St. Kitts. As we build out towards the financial center of the Caribbean, the World Council of Credit Unions comprises approximately 86,055 credit unions in 118 countries, 6 continents of the world, approximately 300 million members, and a penetration of approximately 10%. So the 4 credit unions in St. Kitts and Nevis are part of a worldwide body. It is also regulated by the FSRC. As I want to make the point that those of you who invest or are members of this credit union, you have protection via the FSRC, and you have protection via the Caribbean Confederation of Credit Unions and the worldwide body as well. Combined, we have approximately 122 years of experience in credit unions. Between the 4, when you add their combined ages, it's over 122 years. And so we do have some experience. So in addition to the oversight, we also have experience. In 2020, the total assets of the movement was approximately 460 million. I'm told by Mr. Crosman that he moved from 78.8 million in 2020 to over 100 million in 2021. So I am positive that the combined assets would be over $500 million. The loans in 2020 totaled 300 million and savings 348 million. Dividends were the highest paid in the financial sector, ranging from 5% to 15%. And at First Federal, I'm told, I now speak as a member, we pay the highest dividends, interest on fixed deposits. Am I correct, Mr. Crosman? Yes, I am. But what is a credit union? In essence, it is people pooling money and their resources to make loans to each other. We emphasize moving people from one level to the next. And so the emphasis is not on the profit, but rather on the people. I want to say a special word to young people today. Yes, you go to university or you go to school and you return and you have a job. But I think you have an obligation to move your generation from one level to the next. And you need to create wealth in order to do this. Wealth creation. And you can begin your process, your steps, by becoming a member of a credit union. This is an easy way to begin that process of wealth creation. And so I urge young people to get involved in the movement. It's peculiar in the sense that you own it. It belongs to you. You have to be a member to be involved in this movement. But what is the future of the movement? Out of a meeting yesterday, I'm advised that the credit unions will be asked to set up what is called a clearinghouse for the checks. And so that is a big step. Fortunately, we have an example. In Montserrat, in collaboration with the movement and the government, the parliament passed the requisite regulations to amend the act that governs credit unions in the OECS. And so they now have access to the clearinghouse in Montserrat. This would have gone through the Monetary Council and the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, and so our government should be aware of the requirement. So I think that the directors who are here would have an easy task to convince the government at the next sitting of Parliament to have the amendment made. So I depend on Mr. Quinlan to get that done. The other thing which we look towards is the creation of an investment company so that we can control the funds created, do our own investment, etc., and make the returns on those investments. And so this is another initiative which comes very quickly on the heels of the clearinghouse. And I want to thank Lady Garfield from the CCCU, who is leading these initiatives. And we thank you for making the effort to see that these initiatives come to fruition. But what's the importance of today's event? Those of you who don't know, I was born in McKnight, Tibbo Avenue. These days, a lot of people feel that nothing good comes from there. So to me, being involved in the credit union movement is significant. Growing up in the 60s, Martin Luther King, West Indies cricket team, etc., became very patriotic. We need to own the factors of production. We need to own them. So I'm not unhappy that the foreign banks are leaving, because it creates an opportunity for us to fill this space. And it is that vision which the First Federal has, via its board and general manager, that see us today opening this facility. There's going to be pushback because First Federal took this initiative. There will be. But you see, the credit unions form an I. At the top of Keon Street is the Police Cooperative Credit Union. In the middle is the St. Kitts Cooperative Credit Union. And down to the bottom here is First Federal. They form an I, an I. And in that world, Mr. Martin will be able to explain what that world I mean. The I is significant. And so, I want to compliment First Federal for this initiative. We are now competing, or we are in a better position to compete with those across the road and those down the road. Our people like to see things and feel things, and so they're going to want to see it. Here is going to snowball, if there's such a word. Mushroom, Mr. Crosman, get ready. Because here, as I told you when we were looking at the design, here is going to become it. Here will become it. And I foresee that my credit union, because it belongs to me, my credit union will be going through the roof in terms of performance over the next few years. People can walk in, the older folk can push the door and come in. Don't have to go up any steps. Don't have to drive out of town. The ordinary people who are doing business in Bastille can come and do their business right here. And so there will be competition. It will reinforce the importance of the credit union movement in this market. I pray that my words come to fruition, that this will be the hit in Bastille. So I want to congratulate the project management team. Mr. Crosman has some ladies around him. They don't sleep. I refer to Sonia Fifield. And then there is Delcia Bradley King. And then there's another lady who is, where is she? Makisa O'Loughlin. That team, don't come up against them. And they're headed by Mr. Crosman. I think we should give them a hand for making this possible within the time. I also want to congratulate the board for the support and the staff also for the support and the committees for making sure that this happens. I want to permit me to say one small thing on a personal level. We were involved, that is Jenkins Limited, was involved in the rebranding of the Bladen's Center. That rebranding was spearheaded by my good dear sister, Laverne Keynes. I think she was the brainchild behind the concept and the scheme, the color schemes, etc. And Mr. Crosman is a very hard man to please, eh? And Laverne was able to come out successful in pleasing him. But my son was also involved in that project in terms of the layout and the design. But it is this project that I want to thank Mr. Crosman for, because you may have a skill, but don't understand that you have to marry working with people with that skill to be successful. This project gave my son the opportunity to learn about business. So today, I want to thank you for giving him that opportunity. Many people would have the opportunity to use their skill, but to marry both, to me, was a special privilege. And so, with those few words, I want to wish our movement the success it deserves. I ask our people to buttress these institutions we call credit unions. They belong to us. Point to the future. Because all of the studies have suggested that COVID-19, climate change, and all of those are going to make us depend on ourselves more. We are going to be forced to depend on ourselves and the institutions that we create. And so, I pray that this institution will continue to move from strength to strength. And this particular initiative would prove to be an outstanding success. On behalf of the League, I wish the credit union every success. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Jenkins. You learned quite a bit about the League. Don't worry, I'm not going to quiz you. And Mr. Jenkins emphasized the role of the League and also the importance that credit unions play. I think persons have now come to recognize and appreciate and respect credit unions. I think in the past they were overlooked, they were underestimated, but credit unions have become leaders in the financial sphere, and we're going to see more of that. I hope that the young persons who are listening would heed the call that Mr. Jenkins made to join a credit union, recognizing, of course, the role that they play and how they can benefit as owners of the credit union. Mr. Jenkins, we're going to take as prophetic your words that business is going to go through the roof. Ms. Denise Garfield has been with the credit union industry since 2000. She worked for 15 years with the Jamaican Credit Union and has been the general manager of the Caribbean Confederation of Credit Unions since 2015. She has been described as a serial credit unionist, having worked through the ranks in the industry. She's particularly skilled in the areas of research, corporate and events planning, accounting and business development, and project management. Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Denise Garfield.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Fellow directors, committee members, if you allow me, management and staff of First Federal Cooperative Credit Union, directors of the St. Kitts Nevis National League, friends from other credit unions, Mr. Newton, I haven't seen anybody else, regulators, distinguished guests and members, representatives from the media, good afternoon. It is indeed an honor, and I'm quite ecstatic to be here to participate in this branch opening, or in my own words, the opening of the Experience Center. When we examine the landscape in which we have had to quickly adapt to in the last 2 years, with almost all services changing digitally, one would question, why would you open a physical branch with brick and mortar when financial institutions are moving people out of branches? The simple answer is cultivate a new branch model. Very different from the traditional, to serve the diversified membership base and engage new ones. Our reality in the credit union movement is that we offer personalized service to our members. And we must understand our members' realities. Therefore, our offerings must be hybrid and inclusive. It is the development of human-centered concepts where you design welcoming spaces that combines financial care with specialty cafeteria. It's all about responding to the needs arising from the changing habits of consumers and society in general. And in it combines in a single place for the provision of credit union services and the best coffee of specialty, your financial cafe. We must be creative and different in attracting the youth. And what are their top 3 flavors? Devices, food, and music. I must congratulate the board, management, and staff for the thought and details put into the concept of allowing members to taste the servings of the credit union in a unique way. It is quite visionary. Having partnered with 2 household names, Flow and The Cable, in establishing the recharge station where members have the ability to refuel their bodies, charge their devices, and experience the hybrid model of 6 tellers, 3 human and 3 automated, and relax and indulge at First Cafe, brewing a healthy financial lifestyle for your members. Members must be thankful and excited to be part owners of this. Of course, it is not all about filling members' gastronomical tanks, but also being cognizant of the compliance environment to operate such a model. Therefore, in establishing these creative places, what's important is the risk management and mitigation strategies employed. Ensuring members' finances are protected, putting the necessary safeguards in place to minimize risk and complying with all regulatory requirements. Acknowledging your corporate social responsibility is significant, and I must commend you for recognizing this in your designs. As Mr. Crosman, we dim the lights in recognition of Cancer Month and Diabetes Month. Look above you. The Caribbean credit union sector celebrates 50 years this year, and it comprises 230 credit unions serving 2.7 million members from 16 countries with a 39% penetration rate with US $8.6 billion in assets. First Federal Cooperative Credit Union is a contributor to this achievement, having grown exponentially in the last 3 years, realizing 130% growth in assets, 95% growth in membership, working assiduously to achieve a delinquency ratio of less than 3%, and an outstanding increase in its surplus position at the end of 2021 on audited performance. I am sure I can categorically say it's because of their rebranding experience and the prudent management of their resources. The full-service financial cafe model augurs well for its presence downtown. First Federal Cooperative Credit Union joins the ranks in uplifting the aesthetic and ambience to do business in the heart of town. This investment contributes to the enhancement and beautification and creates employment in the heart of town. In closing, I want to also commend the efforts of using all members to outfit the space, as it is my understanding that it was all skilled members who worked on this project. Now, if that isn't sweet and savory finance. Ladies and gentlemen, I challenge you all now to establish a CUSO, a credit union service organization serving all members of the Federation's credit unions in one place. We look forward to the First Federal's Expresso member services, an innovative distribution model, the first for the Caribbean credit union industry. What a lovely gift. What a lovely gift to your members as you open on Valentine's Day.
Thank you very much, Ms. Garfield. Challenging, witty, and you've challenged us, of course, so thank you very much for your very important words, your remarks. Ms. Sonia Fifield will now deliver the vote of thanks.
Good afternoon, all, and to our viewing audience, a pleasant good afternoon to you as well. I was just getting so comfortable, I heard vote of thanks already. 5 years ago, when I joined this institution, while I was aware of its capabilities of growth and progress, I never imagined that today we would be celebrating the establishment of a full-service personal banking center in downtown Bastia. I am proud to be delivering the vote of thanks at this significant event. An achievement of this nature requires, at a minimum, vision, precision, and cooperation. It is the melding of these attributes that have been contributed by many valuable players that we are celebrating today. I wish to thank those persons who played a role in this ceremony today. To you, Mr. Francil Morris, for the invocation. It is truly fitting to start such a momentous celebration with prayer. Thank you. To our President Howard McCochrane, for your kind and generous remarks. Always a positive outlook for survival of our credit union amidst challenges. Thank you. Special thanks to Mr. Peter Jenkins, our league president, for so pointedly outlining the structure of the credit union movement and for admonishing young people to begin wealth creation by joining a credit union. We are hopeful for those fruits, and we'll be looking forward to them in reporting. Thank you. Also, if I may say it the way you said it, here will become it, and this will be the hit in Bastia. Thank you for your words. To you, Ms. Denise Garfield, manager of Triple CO, we appreciate your remarks. Your description of this new location gave the vision of what we expect this experience center to do. Thank you. To Ms. Delcia Bradley King, thank you for so ably performing the duties of Masters of Ceremony, or should I say Mistress of Ceremony. At First Federal Credit Union, we play team, and so everyone seated here has contributed to our achievement that we are celebrating today. The vision of First Federal will not be possible without the unwavering support of our board of directors under the chairmanship of Mr. Howard McCochrane, our president. Please allow me to name all of our board members whose guidance and contribution would not be possible. Their contribution and guidance will not be able to make this possible today. And if you dare me to put you on the spot, I'm going to call you and I'm just going to ask you to stand and be recognized and accept our thanks and our gratitude. President Howard McCochrane. Director Dawn Williams. Director Glenn Quinlan. Director Jamia Claxton. Director Trevor Cornelius. Director Michael Martin. Director Sean Lawrence. I'll ask you to take a bow and be seated. Thank you. Let me also thank the members of the Supervisory Committee. I'll also ask you to stand and be recognized. Ms. Laverne Keynes. And your committee, please stand while we see you, recognize you, and allow you to say thanks. Allow us to say thanks to you. Thank you. And the Credit Committee, if you could just stand if you're present with us. I'm seeing Mr. Francine Morris. I'm seeing Ms. Amoy Heiliger. Yes, 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 yes. Thank you for being present with us today. This transformed space in which we sit was made possible through the guidance and assistance of many persons. However, today, allow me to recognize the following persons. The most critical part of any project is the planning process. To the architect, Jenkins Limited, thank you for providing project management and architectural services. Thank you. To Mr. Diamond Paris of Tranquil Designs, your rendering services were an indispensable part of such a successful project. The ability to communicate the end result visually in an appealing display generated more excitement for us as an organization, and today we stand in the space accurately, mimicking our vision with the space impeccably appointed. Thank you, Mr. Diamond. To our contractors, Diamond Paris of Tranquil Designs and Kirby Stanley, the job you and your team of professionals have done is amazing. Your attention to detail is exceptional, and the final product is truly outstanding. We appreciate the professionalism and the flexibility, putting up with all the changes. I should also mention how much we appreciate your personal involvement and immediate response to our questions and our concerns. Thank you. As our company continues to thrive in a digital era, we show our gratitude to our IT technician, Mr. Frederick Gillard, of Computer Maintenance Management Services. We rely heavily on technology for a number of reasons, and we are well aware of how critical a proper functioning communication process should be. To our federation's communication providers, to First Federal, Flow, and the Cable, thank you for your continuing to offer excellent, stable service. Thank you. To Jermaine Lewis of JTEC, thank you for safely installing, inspecting, testing our electrical equipment. Given the current COVID climate, which had placed great delays in manufacturing and shipping of items, we were grateful to have brokers who worked assiduously in assisting us in getting products timely. To the team of Hobson Enterprises and the team of Royal Logistics, we appreciate your efforts in working closely with our vendors to expedite the shipping process of our items. To Mr. Cuthbert Woods of Woods Wright Enterprises for your assistance in many areas of the project. However, we thank you for assisting in the deployment and the placement of vault and ATM machines. Thank you. We would also like to thank the following suppliers: Ricardo's, SL Hosford's, and TDC for meeting our needs timely. Special recognition to Vernice Dickinson at Ricardo's for being very accommodating and flexible. The doors of Ricardo's were always open for us without any hesitation, and the level of service displayed by Ms. Dickinson is indeed commendable. To Diane Connor and your team, thank you for your flexibility in providing cleaning services and for understanding for the many times you clean the place only to see it dirty again while cleaning. Thank you. And I've saved the best for last. If ever the name of a business reflected the service provider, Mr. Sinclair Herbert of Reliable Trucking is the epitome of reliability. There has never been a request made throughout the entire project that was not facilitated. It didn't matter the time of the day, of the week, of the night, whenever. Mr. Sinclair was always reliable, pun intended. To those present here today and to our shareholders, we thank you for your gift of time and allowing us to share this special occasion with you. Thank you for choosing First Federal as we continue to say yes to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Sonia Fifield Hazel, for delivering the vote of thanks. And we certainly want to recognize Stephanie of Sweet and Savory. We do appreciate the partnership, and we're certain that you're going to have lots of patrons coming after those tasty delicacies that you are going to provide. Our CEO does not like to be recognized, but I am going to risk being fired by saying, the president is in on the board. Thank you very much. By saying, if ever there was a man with vision and a leader who relentlessly drives his team to surpass excellence, it is Mr. Terence Prosper. Ladies and gentlemen, we will move shortly to the ribbon cutting ceremony. Then we'll have a tour and then enjoy the lovely refreshments, the lovely delicacies that Sweet and Savory has prepared for us. I'm going to ask if you would kindly allow Ms. Denise Garfield, Mr. Jenkins, Mr. McEachran, and Mr. Crossman to make their way to the area where they will proceed to cut the ribbon. After they get in position, you may position yourself so that you can witness the ribbon cutting ceremony. Thank you very much.